I could go on, but Kate is dying to say something now.
Well, just as president, I mean, what practical steps could you take to resolve these kinds of situations should you be elected?
Should I be elected? It sounds like diplomacy speak and it sounds like political speak, but unfortunately that's what it is. But the only response I can have is I'll do my best to tackle issues at the decision making stage, because that's when these things need to be addressed. Because for too long have issues been made at governing authority or in at academic council or teaching learning board with students in attendance who either don't pick up on it or it goes over their head or they don't fight hard enough. And once decisions are made, it's very difficult to unmake them, you know. That certainly when I came into the office in July, there was the situation with online registration, and as a student and as a welfare officer, I was saying I could see clearly this is a bad. They just copied and pasted a system from another university that wasn't going to work here in UCD. There's going to be major teething problems, but at that stage it was too late, and that's pretty much just the litany of mistakes that I've made this year. By the time it falls on my lap, it's too late. Like the decision's already been made. And so with my experience this year, which will stand to me hopefully if I get elected, having been a vice president this year, having known a thing or two more about the system than I would have known 12 months ago, I'll do my best to try and address major decisions before they come into play, before they're made. You know what I mean? Be strong leadership.
Strong
Throw
leadership.
something like that out there, yeah.
Look, moving forward in a going forward direction.
Always forwards, never backwards, and always turning. Isn't that it?
Towards freedom.
That's it. Towards freedom and beyond.
I'm sure we wish you all the best of luck with that.
Thanks so much.
Another thing coming up now is USI Congress.
Indeed.
What's your personal opinion of USI and the work it does for students across Ireland?
USI.
Do you think we get our money's worth?
USI, I think, as like I'm 21 and I'm a student and I'm an active member of the Students' Union, and obviously I think the idea of a strong, active, representative, campaigning national union is something that I almost cry over, because it's such a nice idea. It's such a fantastic idea. The students around the country could get the same deal. That students around the country can be supporting each other. Students around the country can be in solidarity with one another. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think the officers we have in there this year are brilliant. I particularly have to commend Kelly Mackey, who's she's welfare officer in USI. And if any of you have been listening to any of the major radio stations this year, this week she's been on them talking about Sexual Health and Guidance Week. She's certainly brought the office alive. She's done huge things for welfare and for student welfare. In terms of whether, just getting to your actual question, whether students get their money's worth, I don't know whether it's my responsibility as a vice president or not, but I'd have to say most UCD students, can answer that if you like, don't know that we're affiliated to a union and don't know that they have to pay a $5 a head every year towards membership of this union. And I know you could say the same thing about the UCD Students' Union, know that they're a member of a union, but we're still trucking away, we're still bullying, trying to make things better for students here, believe it or not. That's how we spend our day. But in answer to your question, whether students get their money's worth, I think in the past they haven't. I think things are getting better. I think certainly there's been expressions of interest. People have been emailing around already looking for support for their candidacy for the different positions for USI, which is great. It means that more people, we're looking at a 2, 3 or 4 candidate race for the presidency, which I think reflects well. With the right people in, I think USI being the Union of Students in Ireland, I should have started with that. It's our national union, it's the union that all the different students' unions belong to. I think with the right people in, it can be phenomenal, it can be great, it can be beautiful, and I think onwards and upwards is getting there.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, please God. You're asking about Congress, and you want to ask specifically about that? Okay.
Students aren't interested in that.
And that's okay. We do that work for you.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your proudest achievement this year as welfare officer? Because I'm sure it's a very rewarding job.
It is a very rewarding job. Everyone in UCD should run for welfare officer once, because it's brilliant. It's actually a phenomenal job.
I think the returning officer might have a heart attack if everyone in UCD ran for it.
I'd almost like him. Obviously, wouldn't wish Morgan Shelley to have a heart attack, but I'd love to see his expression if he had 22,000 names on ballot paper. It is a fantastic job. I'll answer your question directly, but first of all, I'll say, when I started in July, you come in 1st July and you have a desk and a pen and a phone and a computer, and you're thinking what am I doing really? Because there isn't that many students around. You're thinking how do I welfare this place? There's no one around. and you really have to wonder whether you're just a token student, and you have to wonder whether like there's any benefit towards the SU and towards the welfare vice president. But as the years progressed, I have to underline that the SU has a vital role within the college, and everyone's life here would be very different, and I have to say much more difficult if it weren't for the SU, if it weren't for the relationships that we had with members of the college, if it weren't for the support that the SU gives to students who the college wouldn't touch for different reasons. To answer your question, my proudest moment, I suppose I am a corny man. My nearest and dearest know this, but I have to say my proudest moment was I was out with my old class. I still live with 4 guys, for my 3 girls and a boy. Hey guys, from my old class, and I was out celebrating the end of their exams, and I was in Tramco and Rathmines. I should probably do some shameless plug, but I don't know. It's a nice place. And there was a girl who came out of the crowd. Sounds like a music video, and she grabbed me by the arm and she looked at me and she goes, "Do you remember me?" And I remembered her face, and just thankfully I remembered her name as well. I said, "Of course I do, girl X." And she goes, "Listen, I just want to tell you, I met with you in the first couple of weeks of term, and I was having a really shit time, and I was going to drop out of college. And that we spoke, and that you really comforted me, and you told me to give UCD a break, give it a chance, and that it could change your life for the better. And I said that you could meet anyone here, you can do anything here, and it can be a wonderful, wonderful experience." And she said that was the only reason why she stuck on, and she gave it another couple of weeks, and she's now happily in her second semester in first year arts. That was the happiest moment, because that's one student who, if it weren't for the SU and the work of the SU, would have dropped out.
Oh, Barry, that's the corniest story I've ever heard, and it was lovely.
I can go one further, so another time. But that was a lovely moment, and hello to that girl she's listening.
Okay, if you could offer, there's 3 candidates running for welfare office this year. If you could offer them one piece of advice, what would it be? And then I'll tell them later.
First of all, again, it's very heartwarming to see that I've made the welfare race at least 50% sexier, because there's 3 candidates this year, whereas there was 2 last year and 1 the previous 2 years.
Oh, we're getting there.
Getting there, that's right. Most important job in the place is welfare. Right?
So would you say Dan Hayden has made the presidential office 50% less sexy?
It's 66%, I think. I'm not going to answer that. But, one piece of advice, a vital piece of advice that I was given 12 months ago was you can vary, goes with anything. It goes with sport, it goes with exams, it goes with friendships, it goes with this kind of thing, that you have to, fighting for something and battling for something and wanting something is part of the battle. Wanting to go into that election and having the best campaign team, the best poster, the best election strategy in the world. But at the end of the day, you're gonna want the job, and you're gonna want to do the job. And the thing about SU positions, most feedback you get is very positive. Some people you do sometimes get you just don't do anything, you're a waste of time, and sometimes people can have that attitude. But I know that I do 12-hour days. I know that I'm in every day of the week, every Saturday and every Sunday, and I do that because I love the job, I love the organisation, I love the place, I love what I do. But the one piece of advice I would give to the 3 welfare candidates, and to the 3 ENS candidates, the 3 education candidates, and indeed the 1 deputy president candidate is, you're going to want the job. You're going to want to have to do the job, because at the end of the day, that's what you have to do. You're going to have to put in 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. You're going to have to really break your heart doing the job. So that's my piece of advice for them.